We are Frank and Daphne, two not-so-young retirees from Canada who developed a love for cycle touring fairly late in life. In 2022, we decided to do a ride that would take us across Europe from the North Sea to the Adriatic. The route we planned started in Amsterdam, where we'd head west to dip our toes in the North Sea along the Netherlands coast, then follow the River Rhine upstream on EuroVelo 15 into Germany, a little bit of France and Switzerland, as far as Lake Constance. Here we'd leave the Rhine, switch to EuroVelo 6 and follow the River Danube from the Black Forest as far as the city of Passau in Germany. Then we'd leave the Danube and head in a southerly direction through Austria. This section is actually a little piece of EuroVelo 7. Then in Salzburg we'll pick up the popular Alps to Adriatic cycle trail, locally known as the Ciclovia Alp Adria Radweg, which will lead us through the Alps, across the border into Italy and down to the Adriatic coast at a little town called Grado, about 100 kilometers east of Venice. So we hope you'll come along with us on the ride and join our adventure and see how we get on as we share this journey over several episodes. Good morning. We're in Millingen, almost in Germany but not quite. Having breakfast, granola and fruit and yogurt, and we're the only people in this campground, and it was very quiet. Yes, too bad about the lawnmower noise. Anyway, it's May 17th and we've just spent our last night in the Netherlands in this campground, and today we'll be continuing along the Rhine, heading towards Duisburg and Dusseldorf and Cologne eventually, not today. Right away this morning we will be crossing the border into Germany. We are in Germany! Bye-bye, Netherlands. You were very good to us. Yeah, country number 2. And I'm a little sad to leave the Netherlands. We had such a good experience there. I have read about this old railway bridge, and it may have been the first or one of the first railway bridges across the German section of the Rhine, and was part of the line that ran from Cologne to the Dutch coast, built back in the 1860s. It was damaged during World War II, but continued to be used for national rail traffic until 1960, and after that was used by the local rapeseed oil industry, but obviously is no longer operating and is now under monument protection. We're not on the official EuroVelo route now, we're on a direct route to Xanten. We're in Xanten now, and I'm just reading about this old Roman town, Colonia Ulpia Traiana. It must have been very impressive. We're passing through a bird sanctuary here. There's some keen birders. Thousands of geese apparently overwinter in this area. That British telephone. Just saw a sign that explained that these are Highland cattle.
Okay, he's on.
He's not happy. I'm sure there's a bit of history behind that old bridge. Now it's approaching 6 o'clock and the only camping in this area is across the other side of the river, so we're going to try crossing this bridge and getting across, and in about 5 kilometers we should find a campground. Until now, our day had been pretty uneventful. The route was pleasant, although not overly exciting, but the evening was about to become more interesting. The town of Wesel is across the river, and both Google Maps and our Maps.me app show a campground about 4 to 5 kilometers from this bridge. So off we set to find it. Frank's leading us way off the beaten path to a campground, supposed campground. Oh, I think we're in a private place.
Sie wollen sicher zu Ilka, ne? So, Camping? Camping, ja, ja. Ich nehme sie mit. Ja, nee, die haben Entschuldige, we don't speak German. Ich bringe dich hin. Ja, warte mal, ja. Oh, Canada. Oh.
I've no idea what was being said there, as I know about 2 words of German, but there did seem to be a positive response to Frank's camping question. And I did hear someone say in English to follow this man. And most importantly, Frank did manage to confirm that they had beer.
Ja, Bierchen, Bier, ja sicher, hier, Bier. Oh. Cola, Bier, alles da. Vino.
And so follow him we did up the garden path.
Jede Menge Brennnessel. Das juckt dann nachher so.
Oh,
Da
I think
wollten
he's
sie
talking
nicht-
about mosquitoes.
Deswegen gehen wir jetzt hier rum, weil sie sonst wegen die Beine, da würden sie nur...
I think he's talking about.
Deswegen gehen wir hier rum.
I think I get the message. He took us to a lady who seemed to know about camping. She unfortunately had lost her voice, but did manage to show us the bathroom and shower facilities and directed us back down the garden path to pick any spot we wanted. So, in fact, there is camping here, and it's very obscure, and we are the only people here. That was interesting. That very kind man who doesn't speak a word of English brought us up to an old caravan where he has stashed a whole pile of canned goods, soups, pickles, all kinds of stuff. So he wanted to load us up with all kinds of cans. So in the end we took one can of kind of goulash soup, which will be perfect for tonight, along with the few bits that we have, if we don't decide to go into town. Anyway, kind, but we just couldn't understand him. And he brought us 2 bottles of beer and bottles of water, and he wouldn't take any money. Yeah. So now we'll get the tent up. We figured out later that the building we first walked into was a private sport fishing club. And up the path was a really nice beer garden and also a canoe club and launch area, as there's very easy access to the Lippe River, which feeds into the Rhine not far from here. But we never quite figured out who actually runs the camping, just that it's definitely not a conventional public campground. But the people were very welcoming and friendly, and by the evening we had the entire place to ourselves. So we feel we really lucked out in the end, and we had a lovely peaceful night here. Wednesday morning, going back over the bridge to the west side of the Rhine. "21 kilometers south of Wesel, where we camped last night. There's a large power plant over the dike on my left. We just left the little village where we had a really good lunch of chicken schnitzel, asparagus and croquette potatoes. It was so good and we were hungry. Thought I might need a nap afterwards, but I seem to have recovered. We're heading to Duisburg, a big industrial steel town. Country roads with a very industrial background. Duisburg. We're on the east side of the Rhine now, having crossed over not long ago. And we're going to search for an outdoor store. We need some more camping stove fuel. Sometimes in between the nice pathways you have to do this. Go through a
turn right, then turn left.
Industrial town. Duisburg City Hall.
Keep left, then keep left.
Hopefully. We did manage to find our fuel canister for our camping stove, but we weren't to be so successful with finding a campground tonight. It is 20 to 7 and Frank is leading us to a campground. Yeah, I'm okay. Let's hope. Yeah, there is a campground. Because we've gone on some wild goose chases before using Maps.me app. We are aiming for a campground that is shown on both Google Maps and the Maps.me app, which we use. And it's about 9 kilometers south of the city centre. We should be in the vicinity. This is looking hopeful. We just saw a campground sign. Fast forward a couple of very frustrating kilometres looking for an entrance to the campground. We finally get there and find nothing but cottages and mobile homes. No sign of any camping for us, or even a staff person to ask. So we rode to another possible campground shown on our app, only to find the exact same thing. So frustrating.
Turn right, then turn left.
Next we made our way to a hotel, which turned out to be full, but we were able to use their Wi-Fi to find another hotel about 4 kilometers further on. We've had a grand tour of Duisburg's parks tonight, and woodland, and a wild goose chase. But now we actually have a hotel booking and should be within 900 meters. It was about 8:30 when we got there, and we were never so glad to get to a hotel. This really hot day had left me pretty knackered, and our 55-kilometre day turning into 71 with an evening wild goose chase had not been part of the plan. But I guess it's all part of the adventure. Thumbs up.
Turn right, then turn right.
After a superb buffet breakfast in that lovely hotel, we were easily able to rejoin the official EuroVelo 15 not far from the hotel and make our way south towards Dusseldorf on the east side of the river. It is Tuesday, May the 19th, and our next big town is Dusseldorf. We're right along the river at the moment, having spent the night in a nice hotel in the southern outskirts of Duisburg. Oh, okay. We've mostly had paved paths, very little that wasn't. The approach to Dusseldorf was really straightforward on an excellent path which hugged the riverbank. We just had a fish lunch here in Dusseldorf. We're at a big bend in the Rhine here. A severe storm had been forecast for this afternoon, and sure enough, as the darkening clouds were catching up with us, we came upon a bakery, and as we were parking the bikes, the patio chairs and tables started to become airborne, and debris was swirling around, so strong was the wind. It's a really bad storm. And look at those poor palm trees. But we got in here just in time, and we have apricot pie and cherry pie and nice coffees. We're lucky. Once the storm passed, we pressed on a little further, but decided to make it a short day and checked into a hotel in the southern suburbs of Dusseldorf. Friday morning, 9:30. We're on the road earlier than usual today because there's a storm predicted for the afternoon. We hope to get in our 50 kilometers before then. 50 kilometers is the magic number we had come up with as our minimum daily average goal in order to reach the Adriatic and our flight home, and with a good cushion for rest days and unforeseen events. So even with our 5-day delay in the Netherlands earlier due to my bike issues, we are so far still on track.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air.
So this is the point where we will hopefully take a ferry across to the village of Zoms with the Z. It's an old medieval village.
Dreamy, breezy, we go. Easy, easy on our tiptoes. Undercover agents of the other. Beyond gravel, beyond all. Hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. As willows align, we lose track of time. Head up high, now we climb. Dreamy, breezy, we go. Easy, easy on our tiptoes. Undercover agents of the other. Beyond gravel, beyond all. A bigger scale, the world inhales as we go. I wouldn't want it any other way, no. Dreamy, breezy, we go.
So we just went through an industrial area on the northern outskirts of Cologne. We passed a huge Ford manufacturing plant and some other works, and now we're finally on a decent path headed towards the center of Cologne. I'm looking forward to seeing this city and its famous cathedral. Oh, we had just had a really convoluted route to approach Cologne through industrial and other areas no signage. Thank goodness we had our own navigation aid. Cologne Cathedral is Germany's most visited site, and it's an incredible monument of Gothic architecture. And although Cologne was almost completely flattened during the Second World War, and the cathedral took many hits by aerial bombs, it amazingly remained standing and was able to be restored post-war. Just after visiting the cathedral, the storm hit and we took refuge in a restaurant. But later we were able to head on up the river another 10 kilometres to an actual, real, proper public campground. How are you doing, Frank?
I am good. I had a beer, I had a goulash. All good.
Yeah, it was good. And what's more, it had a restaurant with the best food ever. There were whitecaps on the Rhine tonight, but we were cosy in our tent, and when the wind died down later, we could hear the bells of Cologne Cathedral off in the distance. We're just south of Cologne. We just left our campground a short while ago, and we're headed towards Bonn. It's Saturday, May 21st. Here we are doing a little detour around a oil refinery. There's a couple of them in this area between Cologne and Bonn. Not pretty, but as we know, an essential part of our world. We're in a place called Wesel. Very industrial, oil refineries maybe. There are several huge plants. 15 kilometers to Bonn. So far, the path from Cologne to Bonn has been great. Some woodland, through industry, but straightforward. I like it. Hello. Here we are in the center of Bonn on a busy Saturday. We ended our ride this evening at the town of Remagen, about 25 kilometres south of Bonn. Remagen is known for its famous rail bridge, which was the very last bridge left intact by the Germans during World War II. The Germans' failure to destroy this bridge as the Allies advanced allowed the American forces to cross it in March 1945. This marked a decisive moment in the impending end of the war. The bridge ultimately collapsed 10 days later, killing at least 28 American soldiers, and it was never rebuilt. But the towers on the Remagen side have been turned into a peace museum, which displays the history of the Ludendorff Bridge, as it was called, and the nearby prisoner of war camp Golden Mile. After checking out the bridge remains, we settled into our camp for the night at Camping Golden Mile. At this point in our ride, we have now left behind the Lower Rhine with its industrial flavour, and we've entered the Middle Rhine, considered to be the section from Bonn to Bingen. So the scenery promises to become much more dramatic as we approach Koblenz and the Rhine Gorge tomorrow. The romantic Rhine awaits us upriver in episode 3.